Hello everyone, back with some more gameplay videos, and with this case I will be playing my Rapid X deck, and this is going to be pure Rapid Terriermon, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit just because I think the new Rapidmon really helps push the deck a little bit further, at least with the green base, just because of how good and controller it is, just because of its suspension effect, just because you get to give the entire board minus 4k, and sometimes it really just is annoying to deal with. And with this, I'll be facing my friend's Alliance deck, and I do think with this deck as well, it gets a little bit stronger just because the Terriermon X is just really insane for the deck. In this case, he just goes into a Lotmon in the back and just grabs his Mega just because, again, I think he just needs it for later. And Truby X is still a really good call for the deck in general, I think. In my case, I end up just, going to the Star Terrier in the back, grab a Willis along with playing the BT8 Terrier. And this is a pretty good play just because now I have a tamer to use with the Terriermon along with Surging for Rapid, because now I'm able to use it next turn along with just being able to kind of threaten Ace insanely early on. And all the Rapids, at least the level 4 ones, are still insanely good because the BT8 one can help you kind of clear boards and at least soften up Megas, along with just being really annoying with Armor Purge and being able to threaten Ace as well. And while my friend doesn't really have a board at the moment, I think obviously staying in the back with this type of deck is pretty good just because you kind of want to pop off and kind of build a wide board in the mid to late game. In my case, I end up just promoting my Terriermon along with being able to just play the Willis I had earlier and kind of have another breeding phase. In this case, I end up just going to the Starter Rapid because it's a really good card. I'm able to swing, and even if my guy dies, which you're gonna see here it doesn't really matter because I now have Armor Purge, and I can still use the Terriermon to evo into another Rapid. And in this case, I just kind of swing with my Terriermon because that one isn't really important because I don't have an inherent on it. And in this case, I end up just using the other Rapid I grabbed earlier, and while I didn't really make use of its when Digivolving, now it's still really good because, again, I threaten Ace off this level 4, and if he tries to delete it, he has to kind of remove it twice. And while the deck does have access to DP minus, I think that he kind of has to still swing into my Rapid, so that way I have to Armor Purge, and if the DP minus is big enough, I could just kill off the rookie. In this case, he pushes out and uses his boost and ends up playing the EX4 Terriermon, and this is still really good for the deck just because it's able to wrap 2 pieces, that being the Tamer and one of your higher stages, just because it's a 2-color Soldier. And while it's only pretty much a 2-color Soldier for green stuff, it's still really good because it also grabs the dual Tamer as well. I think this next little part is kind of why I still think Bunnies is a pretty fun deck to play, is because you're able to kind of go into your Mega for insanely cheap. Because in this case, he ends up popping his Trainee to go into his ultimate, and that again helps you combo off into your Mega because he ends up having the Lotmon Herod to Digivolve into the next stage if you trigger Alliance, and in this case he obviously ended up doing because he ended up going to the EX4 Antilamon. And in this case it was the yellow Antila, so even if he didn't Digivolve into his Terriermon X, as you're gonna see, he could still get a recover off, which at this point he kind of is low at security because I end up doing some chip damage as well. I think in this case he ends up swinging into my Rapidmon because he knows I have to Armor Purge, and even if I do Ace here, he is bigger than me, so it would pretty much kill my Ace, and I don't really want that because that's just going to trigger Overflow. So I think I end up just taking the hit and throwing away my body because I don't want to risk just having him build a wider board because if he does, he just gets more Alliance targets along with that. He also did end up triggering the Wind Digivolving to play out a smaller body. In this case, it ended up being the Star Deck Lotmon, and this one is also insanely good because it gives your non-Alliance bodies Alliance, and that's just really strong for the deck because now anything in the line could get it, and now that's even more scary for me at least. And I think at this point my hand was pretty brick, so I just ended up hard slamming level 5 Rapid, and thanks to its on play, I was able to Digivolve his Mega. And it's also a solid enough play because now it also threatens in Blast Evo, and he can't really touch it other than DP reduction. And I don't think the deck really has enough of that other than by using Heaven's Judgment or just by stacking a lot of little ones here and there. But again, it's really solid play for the time, and it kind of just snowballs as you're going to see later. I still think that the level 5 Rapid is an insanely good card regardless if you hard slam it or not, just because again you can threaten Ace with it, along with in BT16 you now have Rapid X, so unless they can DP minus your stack, you kind of just have to worry about, oh well, now if I leave smaller bodies out, I could just get DP minus and they could kind of snowball off that. Because, Rapid X also does have armor punch, so it makes it harder to kill. And in this case, you're gonna see my friend just hard evo into the Starlight Terriermon, and this is probably a safer move just because this way he can actually still play out another body and get bigger than my ace if I have it. Because, my ace in this case is only 12k. I don't have any buffs under it, so again, just making sure you can get bigger just in case if I block is really good. And since in this case he has numerous instances of alliance, he ends up just, swinging with the Terriermon and just alliancing with two of his bodies and just evos into the Terriermon X, which again is really good just because now it puts more pressure on me to kind of deal with the next turn. And in this case, I don't think I end up blasting just because I kind of want to go into my Rapid X since I don't really have a lot of other ways to do it right now. And he ends up playing the Black Gargamon for free off the effect, which again just now puts more pressure on me for later. And he ends up hitting into a double Typhoon, which kind of lets me suspend his two bodies, and then ends up hitting into a Judgment, and it's not enough to kill his Terriermon X, so I end up just hitting one of the smaller bodies because even with the DP buffs gained from Alliance, he still has like extra 4k from the Terriermon Assistant, and I think it's like 13k either way, so no matter what, it wouldn't have died. And for the Alliance deck, this is a pretty good board just because now it helps you set up for game later on. And I still think that Truby X is a really solid card just because, it plays out stuff. And since he has his Terriermon under it, he's able to delete stuff based on the amount of Digimon on board. But of course, right now, he can't touch my Rapid. Because I think if he was able to touch it, I pretty much would have been in a worse spot. Only because I still don't have anything in the back. And in this way, I can't just evo into my Rapid X and whatnot as easily because I kind of have to wait a turn. But at this point, since he applied so much pressure, I kind of have to do something right now. And right now, I think it's a pretty easy play to make right now. All I really have to do is clear his board, and with the help of Rapid X, that is pretty doable because a lot of his stuff is less than 4k. In this case, I help reduce the cost with Willis, and I'm able to gain back at least some memory with it because Rapid X's all turns is really good just because it can gain back 2 memory. And in this case, I think I end up swinging into the Terriermon since at this point it's minus 4k, and I'm pretty sure I'm able just to beat over it since all the buffs he would have gained on his turn only last till his turn. And I also do have the Rapid Inherit, which insanely helps because I'm able to trash security, and again, I'm only doing that just in case if I hit like an option or just something else I don't really want to see, and I really want my Rapid X to live, so this is still a really good play in my mind. While the Rapid X does have armor punch, I still don't really want to see it die in security, and it only really just has 11k. In this case, I end up power slamming another one because again, I just don't have anything to evo in the back, and I still think this is decent because now again I throw in 2 aces because the Mega Gargoyle ace can go off any Rapid. So again, for me, this is a smart move just because again, I don't really care how much memory I give him at the moment because he kind of still has to rebuild and tile stack, and I'm able just to kind of have one Digimon have protection, another one have armor punch, and I think this is a really good showcase of just how annoying Rapidmon can be regardless, just because you can threaten a lot of really nasty plays no matter the situation. But for me right now, this is still pretty good just because now I'm able to kind of have one body stay on the board no matter what he does, and it still helps me because if I have another Rapid X, I'm still able to kind of clear a lot of his other smaller bodies. And for him, this is not looking so good just because he has no board because I end up clearing it, along with if he brings out, his bodies have a pretty decent chance to die because the combination of having the Mega Gargoyle Ace and Rapid X is really detrimental because I'm able to suspend his stuff and kind of just put them in range for Rapid X and Mega Gargoyle to kill. And since I don't have game on board, I'm pretty sure my friend just takes the moment to realize that he can kind of just take it a little bit slowly because again, I only have 2 bodies, and my Rapid protection kind of rails off at the end of his turn, so he's able to kind of just build a little bit in the back along with just playing out his Tamer. And the Tamer can really help just because it kind of accelerates his game plan in the end because it helps him reduce his cost of his evolutions, and is of course able to give him more bodies so that way he can alliance with. But with Rapid X out, it's still really hard for him just because he has to kind of play bigger bodies so that way they just don't instantly die. And in my case, I just end up swinging with my Rapid X just to get another check-in. And you're gonna see me here just Hall Slam another level 5 Rapid because again, I just didn't really have much else to do. But it still worked out with me because now I have another Rapid with protection, and I have 3 blast Evo targets for my ace, so again, it just makes it really hard for him. And in this case, he's able to, of course, play out the Star Deck Lotmon with the dual Tamo. And this is another good reason why the Star Deck Rapid is good regardless of your situation, just because it's a free devolve along with just being protected, and it kind of just makes things really annoying. And you're gonna see my friend here just kind of build up his stack and kind of just attempt to kind of remove my board, because again, one body is unaffected by stuff and the other one, while it can be removed, it's still not really the greatest because that way I still have 2 bodies, and the other one has armor purge. And he goes into the EX4 Antilo, which again is still pretty solid, and he decides to also give the other stack alliance with the Star Deck Lotmon just because he's able to kind of stack it, which is really good. And you're gonna see him here, he alliances with the Lotmon, which helps him out in the end just because he's able to evo into his Mega. And while the Lotmon instantly dies, it doesn't really matter because again, he's able to go into his Terriermon X for a little bit cheaper. And you're gonna see him play out the BT4 Lucemon, and I still think it's insanely funny how you're able to play it off for free just because you're able to play a level 4 yellow or lower, and again, it just so happens to be a level 3. And it's also good because he gets a free recover, so he gets to stay in the game a little bit longer and makes it more annoying for me because while I do have 3 bodies, I'm pretty sure he's able to kind of remove one of mine at the end of his turn if he's able to kind of just play another body. And it's also good that the Lucemon is about like 10k, so it doesn't die from the Rapidmon X effect, so that way he's able to at least have another body on board so he can align with. And it's also good that since he aligns with it, he gets a 10k buff, and while it's like -4 from the Rapidmon X, he's still pretty much bigger than almost everything I have right now. And you're gonna see I'm ended up blasting only because the fact that he wasn't able to kind of touch the Rapid, and it was a free evolution on his turn. In this case, he only ended up swinging at the Rapidmon X just because he wanted it gone, and he was able to beat over it. But again, there isn't really much he could do because if he swings at my security, he doesn't have lethal, and with the Rapid X gone, he doesn't get any DP minus. But I just managed to almost push it away and kind of keep my stack here. And I pretty much just have game on board because the Mega Gargomon is able to kind of swing twice. And I am bigger than the Lucemon, so I end up just swinging at that and end up just trash security due to the Rapidmon effect, and I pretty much just finish game here. And this next game is going to be a little bit faster, but I think it's still a decent showcase to see how fast the green base Rapidmon can even go, and when it's properly set up and you actually have a stack to go off of. Because last game I was insanely bricked and I ended up just Hall slamming a lot of my level 5s. And in this game, my friend ended up going first, and I think these next 2 turns are going to be kind of funny because they kind of mirror each other. Because first to start off, he goes into his rookie and ends up Hall slamming a training, and he kind of has to grab his Antilomon. And in my case, I end up doing a similar play, but in this case I go to Terriermon, I play a training, and I kind of have to grab my Rapid because I bombed like a Heavens. But I don't really think it really mattered because in this case I don't think Heavens is the biggest deal because I'm able to kind of just control with my level 6s and whatnot. But of course I end up doing double training just to get more resources. And my friend ends up dropping a training, and it's very unfortunate since he also bomb decks his X antibody because he can actually use that with the Terriermon X if he doesn't have the other Terriermon. And I bring up and I end up hot slamming my Mimi for 2 due to Terriermon's effect, and that way it just helps me choke him at 1. And he ends up just again hot slamming the EX4 Terriermon because I don't think he had a lot of pieces and he kind of wants to just turbo out in 1 turn. And in my case, I end up just stop hot slamming Tamers with my Star Deck Terriermon. I end up going to Terriermon X, and I think it's a really useful card just because it helps you make your Rapidmon Evos really cheap. And in this case, I end up going for free and just start swinging with it. And it's very good this time because my Rapidmon lives, so I don't have to evo into another level 4 right here. And now I'm kind of just thinking on what I want to do with the Rapid that lived, and I pretty much end up deciding to evolve it into the Star Deck Rapidmon because that way at least I can keep it protected just in case, and it just gives me a level 5 for later. In this case, I also bring up the Terriermon from the back with Mimi, and I end up evolving into the Star Deck level 4 Rapid just to also give another blast target along with just it being a really solid card just to block with, because I'm able to give something minus 4k. And my friend makes the smart decision here to kind of just stay in the back and kind of build a stack there, because last game he ended up just getting his board kind of just wiped almost every single time. So that way, if he builds a stack in the back, he's able to kind of pop off next turn, because he can just do a lot more than he could before. And now my rapid protection kind of wears off, which again, it's not the biggest deal sometimes, because if I'm able to go over it with Rapid X, I still get armor board with it as well. Since he isn't really committing a lot of buys to board right now, I'm kind of just thinking if I really want to just go into Rapid X or Mega Gargo right now, just because that way I'm able to kind of counteract his board. But in the end, I think I end up just going to Rapid X, just because no matter what, threatening that is also really good, because that way I'm able to have an armor porch body, or at least another one, and I'm able to at least swing and kind of make his smaller bodies die if, again, he decides to alliance. I also swing with my other Rapidmon, but in this case it ends up dying just because I think it just crashes with the Terriermon. And in this case I end up just evoing it into another Rapidmon, in this case the BT16. And while I wasn't able to kind of like DP minus any of his stuff, I still think it's kind of good just because, again, it has armor purge, along with the fact that I can ace over it as well. In this case, he kind of has to also bring up to attempt to remove my board, because I pretty much have game at this point, because I have 2 bodies on board and a Terriermon in the back. In this case, he ends up just, again, hard evolving into the Star Deck Terriermon, and this is still really good because he ends up free playing a level 4 from his hand, and he ends up playing the Star Deck Wendigo, which I think he is only doing that just because he wants to try to delete my Rapid, at least the level 4 one, but of course I armor push, but it's still a good play because it removes another ace target for me. And right now he still has a decent shot of removing some of my other bodies, just because of the fact that he can kind of evo mid attack if he triggers alliance, which in this case he ends up doing, but it's still very unfortunate because the Rapidmon is able to kill off his body, and really still gains the buffs and whatnot. You know, he still has to sacrifice the body just to kind of do so, and I think that's still another really upside of Rapidmon X, just because it kind of deals with small bodies and softens them up, along with, you know, gaining me back to memory, which again, this is a very big downside for the Alliance deck because they want those small bodies to be suspended. But it doesn't really matter in the end because he's able to, you know, go into the Terriermon X and able to replay that guy, so that way he's able to delete my Terriermon. And in this case, he kind of lives both the checks and doesn't hit any options in security. And now he's pretty much just trying to find a way to also get rid of my Rapidmon X, since, you know, Terriermon's end of turn is able to delete Digimon equal to the board you have. And he only has 2 right now, but I think it's as simple as just hard slamming another body, which he ends up just hard slamming his rookie just to also get a Surge and end of turn to kind of move it. But, you know, of course I have armor purge, so it doesn't really go away, which is still unfortunate. And I still do think, again, it's another advantage because if they remove it, you armor purge and get back your entire stack, so they can't just have to remove twice or just DP reduce it, or again just bomb deck it. But as you're gonna see, I pretty much remove his board pretty easily thanks to the help of the BT8 Rapid, because I'm able to suspend 2 of his bodies and give 3 of his guys minus 5k, and since his Terriermon is 1k under for my Rapidmon, I'm able to swing over and still pierce. And at this point I pretty much just get him down to 0 security, and he pretty much just scoops it because there isn't anything else he can do in his following turn to kind of bounce back. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching the videos and staying around to the end. And of course, if you like the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and, you know, of course, tune into my future content. Again, thank you all guys for everything, and see you guys later.